All right, guys, here we go. Our very last equation. It says write an equation of a line that passes through -8, 5, and -10, 13. So the first thing we want to do is we want to find our slope, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then we want to put it into point slope, which, as I'm writing here, is y minus y1 equals your slope m times x minus x1. And from there, we want to move it into y equals mx plus b. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and find our slope. I'm going to do 13 and subtract. So I'm using this 13 and I'm subtracting this 5. And I'm putting it over -10 minus -8. All right, so 13 minus 5 is 8. And -10 and a positive 8 are a -2. So 8 divided by -2 is simply -4. So now what we're going to do is we're going to plug it into this point slope formula. And hopefully I can write small enough, or I can just erase. Let me erase real quick. So I'm going to leave that slope up there. Erase, this is pretty satisfying. Okay, so here's my slope, m equals 4. So I'm going to just choose this point right here. I don't know why, it just seems friendlier to me. And I'm going to do y minus 5 equals my slope, which I now know is -4, parentheses, x minus the x value, which is -8. So I remember positive peanut, or two negatives make a positive. And then I also have to distribute this. So I end up with y minus 5 equals -4x minus 32. All right, and I've got to add 5, and I've got to add 5. And what I end up with is y equals -4x plus, or minus 27. Anyway, that's it for that one. Now let's scroll down to, whoops, can't get that to work right now. Write an equation of a line that passes through, oh gosh, same thing basically. So again, we're going to find our slope. We're going to put it into point slope and move it into slope-intercept form. So to find my slope, I'm going to do, did I miss one here? No, okay. Oh, how funny. They're a little bit different on my thing here than that I already worked out. And anyway, sorry. Long and short of it, I'm going to do 8, and I'm going to minus 6. I'm going to do -3 minus -3. All right, well, 8 minus 6 is going to be a 2. All right, and then I have a -3 and a +3, which is a 0. So that would be undefined. I always think of it as when Humpty's not sitting on top, he's sad because he has fallen off the wall. So an equation of a line that passes through this point, you could just say your x value, right? Because it would be going through my x-axis straight up and down, x and y. And you could pick just -3. That would be the equation of your line. All right, find the slope of a line perpendicular. So remember, that's going to be our opposite reciprocal. So I'm going to do -3 minus -5 and 8 minus 12. All right, well, two negatives become a positive. So I had -3 and a +5, which would be a 2. And then I have 8 minus 12, which would give me a -4. Well, I've got to make it my opposite reciprocal to be perpendicular, so I'm going to make it a positive, and then I'm going to flip it to 4/2, which actually just reduces down to 2. So my slope perpendicular to these 2 points would be a positive 2. All right, parallel, our slope is going to stay the same. So find the slope of a line passing through these points. So I'm going to do negative 5 minus 5 over negative 7 minus negative 2. Okay, negative 5 minus 5 is going to give me a negative 10. And negative 7 plus 2, because the two negatives make a positive, would give me negative 5. Negative 10 over negative 5 is simply just 2. So my slope, again, is 2, because it's staying the same this time. Okay, write an equation for a line that is parallel to this and passes through this point. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to get it in the y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to subtract 2x and subtract 2x. I'm going to end up with 3y equals negative 2x plus 9. I'm going to divide by 3, divide by 3, and divide by 3. I'm going to end up with y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. Okay, so here is my slope, and I want it to be parallel, right? So the slope isn't going to change, but I'm going to use this point right here, and I'm going to put it in point slope. So I'm going to have y minus 1 equals negative 2/3 x minus 3. All right, I'm going to distribute to both of these. I'm going to have y minus 1 equals negative 2/3 x plus, because a negative times a negative is a positive, plus 2, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Right? And I'm going to add 1 and add 1, and I'll end up with y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. And just scroll up here a little bit. Write an equation for a line that is perpendicular to x equals 5 and passes through this point. Okay, so let's look at our coordinate plane, and let's just say n 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll draw this out a little longer. X equals 5, and let me maybe do it in purple, is right here. Okay, you want it to be perpendicular, so that means we want it to go like this direction, right? Because right now it's going straight up and down. So if it goes from right to left, that means it's going to cross through our y-axis. So we look at our y value, which is 7, and we would simply be able to write y equals 7 for our equation. And if we were to go up and count up about 7 and draw that line, we would see that, yes, they would be perpendicular. Okay, so that is it for Unit L, and then I'll be back with algebra.